We have a lot to cover here, so let's start right away. Ascenders Beyond the Peak. Developer Ludogram recently released a new trailer for its turn-based exploration roguelite title, Ascenders Beyond the Peak. The trailer gives us a look at its core gameplay, which revolves around players leading a team of climbers to recover ancient artifacts from cursed mountains, all while dealing with threats that have been inspired by the horror works of H.P. Lovecraft. Now, the biggest threat that players will face throughout their time with Ascenders Beyond the Peak will be the ice-covered walls of the mountains they climb, since they will also have to deal with things like crumbling rock faces, toxic vegetation, and even avalanches. The terrain itself is going to offer players their most intense challenge. However, a single climb doesn't mean that an expedition is over. Rather, players will have to deal with increasing unnatural threats, with ecosystems getting distorted and flora and fauna getting more and more hostile. Along with all of this, players will also have to deal with a presence that doesn't seem like it is earthly in nature. To help scale these mountains, players will find that their crew is all tethered together, which helps them support one another. However, this comes with its own problems, of course, since a single wrong move by one crew member puts the entire team at risk. It also doesn't help that death is permanent for the characters, and retreating might seem prudent at times, but the action is bound to make things even worse somehow. Ascenders Beyond the Peak is coming to PC in Q3 2026. Impulse. 1047 Games is moving fast with its next competitive shooter, the movement-based Impulse. After announcing early access for this year, it confirmed a release date of June 24th. Not only that, but you can check it out as part of the Steam Next Fest. New gameplay also debuted recently, and if you thought it was very Titanfall-esque before, then nothing has really changed, aside from the irritating trailer music. As part of a crew in Freehold, you're fighting for something across urban environments with extensive verticality. While running and grappling with assault rifles, pistols, and shotguns is really only the start here, as you can deploy paint bombs to alter surfaces, and use hollow jumps for some extra bounce. There's also a grappling hook, and as with many games, it's great for looping around to flank an enemy. Finally, there are mechs, which spawn on the map. Only one team can actually claim it for a period, and its devastating firepower means that you could be left on the back foot. That's where the mobility becomes even more essential, especially if your team can coordinate to take it down. Only one mech has been showcased thus far, but there are others with different abilities. Planet Zoo 2. Developer Frontier Developments has recently released a new trailer for its upcoming zoo building and management sim Planet Zoo 2. Planet Zoo 2 is slated to offer more of just about everything that players loved about the original Planet Zoo, from more parts for building things to a host of new animals that will need their own distinct habitats catered towards them. Along with the typical land-based animals, Planet Zoo 2 will also feature aerial and aquatic creatures as well. Among the new animals coming to the game are the Toko toucan, the secretary bird, black-tip reef sharks, and the hawksbill turtles. Now, to cater to all of these new creatures, players will have access to plenty of new tools, allowing them to ensure that the animals stay safe and healthy as part of the game's efforts towards encouraging conservation. Planet Zoo 2 is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on October 13th. The title was announced just last month with a trailer that also confirmed its release date, as well as the fact that aquatic creatures and birds would be making their debut in the game. Along with zoos, players will also be able to create entire wildlife reserves, which start off as a conservation project before evolving into full-blown habitats that can be set up anywhere in the world. Wildlife reserves are slated to be long-term goals for players to strive towards as they manage their zoos and their denizens. Kronos Lazarus. One of the worst kept secrets heading into the summer of gaming, Bloober Team's Kronos Lazarus was finally announced. As previously claimed, it's DLC for Kronos The New Dawn, launching this fall for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. Instead of Traveler ND3576, you'll control the Warden, or rather the Warden before he assumed that role, i.e. the Pathfinder. After the Collective effectively leaves him for dead, he seeks out someone important, a lost essence that he's not keen to let go of. And while he's not quite at 100%, the Pathfinder is still a powerful opponent. He favors a more aggressive playstyle and possesses unique abilities, including creating a decoy and turning invisible for a period to get the drop on foes. He'll need all of this and more to surge ahead, especially since Bloober Team promises even harsher challenges than before. That includes a Pursuer, one tasked by the Collective to eliminate the Pathfinder. Of course, as you progress through Lazarus, you'll learn more about his past and what ultimately shaped him into the Warden. Given the lengths he's willing to go, it can't be anything pleasant. Impermanence. Developers Bad Choices, Loud Noises, and Duckosaurs have unveiled a new psychological horror game dubbed Impermanence. Set in the abandoned Orphean Theater, the player takes on the role of a man who keeps going back to the theater every night with boxes of toys, photographs, trophies, drawings, and other memorabilia in an attempt to, at least once more, hear his son's voice. Throughout the player's attempts, as they slowly rebuild their son's room in the theater, they will eventually start pulling something to the real world, with tiny motes appearing in the air. However, the science experiment may have gone wrong, and something else is also listening to you and your son. Impermanence has been described by the developers as a narrative first-person horror experience that focuses on themes of grief, obsession, and the refusal of one man to let go. Players will have to make use of the principles of acoustic levitation to try and stabilize fragile fragments of presence, all while a much older force is also constantly pushing back. The title won't feature any monsters waiting in the dark to scare you, and nor will it give you any weapons to fight this entity back. Rather, it will entirely revolve around the character arc of the father. Impermanence is being developed for PC and doesn't yet have a release date. It is currently unknown whether there are plans for a console release in the future. AGXGP. AGXGP has made its presence felt recently with a trailer that looks like a pretty accurate picture of what you're going to be doing if you decide to take on its high-speed take on anti-gravity racing. While the trailer kind of rehashed a few things we already knew about it, like the presence of 25 different tracks to race on and a bunch of game modes to keep things exciting, the special abilities you get were quite interesting. There's the boost ability, which you're going to have to use quite smartly to speed past your opponents or gain enough momentum to jump over an obstacle that just comes out of nowhere. There's also the track swap ability that's going to be very handy in quickly switching lanes to avoid your effort to be the very best racer there is, getting crushed by an obstacle that you couldn't avoid. The adrenaline is high in this one, even when you look at it from a distance, and your reflexes are going to be tested time and time again before you manage to clear all the challenges this one throws at you. War Dogs. Is it an extraction shooter? Is it a battle royale? No, it's actually a tactical, all-out warfare FPS. We're talking here about War Dogs, a shooter that simulates the chaos of a battlefield quite well in the recent new gameplay trailer. We get a glimpse of life in the control zone, a 2x2 kilometer chunk of a large map in which you're going to be duking it out with up to 100 other players vying for control and cash by eliminating as many members of the opposing teams as you can. To do that, you're going to have to coordinate your attacks with deadly weapons and vehicles, while shoring up your defenses by constructing them. You could always choose to tear through your enemy's defenses if that's more your style though. Whatever you choose, know that you're going to have to earn your pay in this one, as your opponents are surely plotting your abrupt demise even as you plot theirs. It's the perfect formula for some intense battles, with unpredictability lying at the heart of every match you dive into. Enginefall. It's been a while since we've talked about Enginefall, a title that brings a unique twist to the crafting shooter genre. So what does it do differently? Well, it all takes place on colossal trains that become the stages for some very intense battles. The new gameplay trailer is all about the different approaches you get to take as you pursue your goals, with a very handy grappling gun allowing you to get the higher ground or just make a quick escape. It's even handy in taking a quiet approach and avoiding tough fights altogether. Of course, it's not the only tool in your kit, as you get sledgehammers, guns, bombs, and so much more to help you advance from the tail to first-class carriages, where the best loot is lying there ripe for the taking. Expect some strong opposition along the way, although your teammates could prove to be a valuable advantage if you manage to coordinate well enough with them, thanks to this one being a social sandbox game. Do well enough and you're going to soon be in command of the train of your own. It drops on Steam sometime this year, and you could apply to be a part of playtests in the run-up to its release. The Pines. Studio Abattoir recently debuted a new trailer for its psychological horror RPG, The Pines, along with a 2027 release window. See some of the terrors that Edward Walker encounters upon visiting this quaint little town. A woman warns him not to go into the forest, a corpse surrounded by garden gnomes, and a less than friendly chainsaw-wielding killer who's after him. You also have to deal with enemies, and for some reason Walker can take pretty much everyone's outfits. To what end? Well, good question. Because while it isn't really showcased, The Pines offers a skill system and perks alongside meaningful choices. You can also discover different weapons besides the trusty axe, while investigating the town and interacting with different characters. The plot revolves around Walker venturing to the location at the advice of his therapist, and it's far less relaxing than you would think. It's up to him to unravel what's going on here, whether it's investigating crime scenes, unearthing clues, or questioning the townsfolk and deciding who to trust. The Stalker system is also intriguing because anyone you could wrong could actually turn into a killer out for your blood. Talk about horror. Thief: The Dark Project Remastered. In what feels like a long overdue announcement, Night Dive Studios recently announced Thief: The Dark Project Remastered, a remaster of Looking Glass Studios' iconic stealth title. It's coming to Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PS4, PC, Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch 2. Launching this winter, which at this point could be either December 2026 or early 2027, we see Garrett in action once more, sniping fools from afar and slinking through environments. But thanks to the Kex engine, you can expect 4K resolution and 120 FPS, with support for modern gamepads. It even supports rumble and motion controls alongside gyro support. A new weapon wheel means easier access to Garrett's tools. All of the content from the original game and Thief Gold is included here, and enemies have been improved in terms of animations and textures. Heck, even the level design has received a few small fixes. The fact that you can replay any previous mission and once again access custom campaigns thanks to built-in support at launch means that Thief: The Dark Project Remastered could be the best way to experience this classic. The Relic First Guardian. The Relic First Guardian finally has a release date after it was delayed from last May. It's slated to arrive on July 31st for PS5 and PC, with Xbox Series X and S and Nintendo Switch 2 versions scheduled for later this summer. To say that it's a Souls-like we've been pretty curious about since it was announced would of course be an understatement. The story takes place on Astalis, a once thriving world that was overtaken by a void stemming from the destruction of a relic crucial to its well-being. Your task then is to find the scattered pieces, which is easier said than done thanks to a multitude of enemies and bosses standing in your way. They are a nasty bunch, but you've got all the moves you need to take them on with your head held high and then some. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.